What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and today we're taking a look at some more of the Native American factions here for Blood and Plunder. And today we're actually going to do a 2-for-1 just because these two lists are very similar, but also don't have that much different stuff going on. So as always, though, with the natives, we got to remember that there are a couple of prerequisites that we have to follow in our list building, and so we have that right here at the start of the section. No force may include any size 2 or larger ships. If you are the attacker in the scenario, you can deploy half your units following the lay and wait rules, which is pretty cool. Basically, a little more like ambush type of shenanigans you can do. Any ships that you do include get paddles, makes sense, and of course, no artillery. So let's dive right in. So again, we're taking a look at the Iroquois, roughly 1620 all the way up to 1783. And the Wabanaki as well. So these lists are somewhat mirrors of each other in a couple of ways. For the Iroquois, we get Warcry and Cunning, which Warcry we've seen up with the northeastern tribes, so check our video out on that. So with Warcry, basically what we get is when the unit takes a free fight action from a charge, any unit that basically is charged and takes damage at all will actually roll an extra D10 on their fatigue test. So it's going to be as with the other native list that we just looked at here, it's going to favor aggression, right? We want to get into combat, ideally, especially with like our warrior units, dedicated combat units, get those charges off. Hopefully, it shouldn't be too hard. Roll at least a hit. Worst case, if you flub a whole set of rolls, make sure you have that fortune point still available, get that reroll, and just get some damage in. And again, those extra D10s for fatigue, ideally, hopefully will pile up the fatigue fast, start shaking some units, maybe even getting them broken pretty fast with casualties and everything else going on, and you just kind of steamroll through the enemy. So you have that, but here's where they then differ. We get Cunning for the Iroquois, and basically what Cunning will do for us is anytime that we have a situation where they're falling back as a result of being shaken, we actually just get a little bit more distance to do that. So a move of 5 instead of 4, which again just puts a little bit more distance there for us. Now with skirmishers for the Wabanaki is kind of cool. Really kind of actually wish in some sense that both forces would have gotten skirmishers, but skirmishers is a fun one. If you're activating off of basically spades or hearts, as we can see from the rules here. So basically, if you do that, you take a move action and then attempt one or more range actions, you'll get a free move back to your original position. So basically, it's like a bounce back. And same thing if you actually get into combat, you can sort of bounce out of combat. It's like a hit and run, basically. So you have that for those guys, and that can be pretty solid. Now, the Iroquois force selection, as far as the units go, is actually very similar to the northeastern woodland tribes, with the warrior archers as your lone support unit, and then you got the musketeers, warriors, and young warriors as your core. But whereas the northeastern forces get a little bit more in the way of other special rules, here it's pretty much just basic. You got your units, no other effects to have to worry about or other like support rules going on. The Wabanaki spreads things out a little bit. You got the warriors and warrior musketeers as core, but we slide the young warriors also over to support in this list. Both of them will take any northern tribes commanders, so you have that as well. But then our allied factions drastically differ. So basically with the Iroquois, we get different flavors of militia. We can go English, Dutch, or Northeastern. No French on that. But for the Wabanaki, actually here we get the French Canadians, but then also ironically, or not ironically, let's just say interestingly enough, the Northeastern Woodland Tribes, so a fellow native list as an actual allied faction, so which we haven't seen much of yet. It's usually one of the European factions that we get at the army scale. But both pretty interesting lists, again, versus the Northeastern Woodland Tribes, which seems to just offer a little bit more with special rules and then access to King Philip as a special character and a whole hell of a lot of things going on for allied factions. These are just much simpler. Doesn't mean they're bad by any means, but just a little more bare bones as far as throwing on all the extra special rules and fun stuff. But we still get Warcry for both of those, Cunning for the one, Skirmishers for the other. Those are still very good rules, and the fact that we get them for all of the units is nothing to sneeze at. So by no means, are these like meant to be like bad or subpar lists. It's just some of the other lists just seem to get a little bit more toys, and that's fine. We still can do a lot of work with Warcry, certainly, again, being aggressive for units that are excellent at close combat. And then with Cunning and or Skirmishers, depending on the list, we can, again, pull some more of the little tricks that the natives will excel at, and just, again, utilize those units to their maximum potential. So that being said, guys, let us know if you fielded any Iroquois or Wabanaki forces, how you've decided to kit out that entire force, and what other opposing forces you've had success with or struggled against. Be sure to hit us up in the comments there, guys. We'll be moving on to the southeastern areas next here with the southeastern woodland tribes, and then wrapping things up with the Westo to round out the native forces. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll have more Blood and Plunder for you very, very soon. Take care.